Alright guys, here we are once again on Cape Cod, here in the town of Sandwich, Massachusetts. That's right, Sandwich. We're going to be taking a tour of the old Sandwich burial ground. We're going to be looking for some headstones that date back to the 1700s, maybe even the 1600s. Let's have a look. In the year 1637, a group of English settlers from Saugus, Mass. colonized Sandwich. It is named after the seaport of Sandwich, in Kent County, England. Incorporated in 1639, Sandwich is the oldest town on Cape Cod, although some will argue the town of Yarmouth is older. Let's call it a tie. Now, off to the old burying ground. In memory of Lydia Pope, wife of Elijah Pope, who departed this life March 26, 1820, aged 35 years. In memory of Mrs. Ruth, wife of Mr. John Dillingham, who died April 11th, 1794, aged 88 years. Erected to the memory of Melatiah Bourne, who died March 21st, 1803, in the 69th year of his age. I've realized that there's just one or two predominant names in every cemetery. In this particular cemetery, it seems to be the name Pope. This whole row behind me here is Pope. I'm not sure if you can see here. This one's a little beat up. You can't quite read it anymore. There's one lying on the ground here. And more here as well. Again, this whole row, and I think some behind as well. Thomas Pope. So I figured this must have been a really important family. So I looked it up and I traced it back to a man named Seth Pope, who has a really interesting story. Let's check it out. Seth Pope was born in Plymouth, Massachusetts on January 13th, 1648. Little is known about his early life. However, folklore, which has been partially confirmed by local records, says that around the year 1670, he appeared as a peddler here in Sandwich, whereupon the constable, in pursuance of a regulation then in force, ordered him to depart, lest in the future he might become a charge upon the town. Basically, the constable didn't want some no-good lazy drifter hanging around his town not paying any taxes. Eventually, the constable was able to run Seth Pope out of town, and as he was leaving, he turned to the constable and proclaimed, "I'll be back someday, and I'm gonna buy up this town." A promise he fulfilled 29 years later. Eventually, he settled in the town of Dartmouth and began a career of industry and thrift, which soon made him a leading merchant, an honored representative, and the first trial magistrate in Dartmouth. Ultimately, he became one of the most wealthy and influential citizens of the old colony. Having become one of the largest owners of land in Dartmouth and one of its wealthiest citizens, he set out to fulfill his promise to own a valuable part of the town of Sandwich. Around the year 1700, he purchased a farm in Sandwich for his eldest son John, and later he purchased numerous other valuable properties in town. Today, the Pope name is synonymous with the town of Sandwich, as evident in this old burying ground and other instances throughout town. To this day, there are Pope descendants living right here in the town of Sandwich. Here lies interred all that was mortal of Titus Winchester, aged 62, who departed from this life March 27, 1808. For many years he was the servant of the Reverend Abraham Williams, the former minister of this place. His fidelity to his master on earth could only be exceeded by that which he continually displayed toward his heavenly. Of industry, temperance, and sound economy he was an uncommon example. The fruit of all his earthly labor he generously consecrated to the service of heaven. To the first precinct of this place he bequeathed all his substance, to be dedicated to pious uses. In testimony of their sense of gratitude for so distinguished a benefaction, this monumental stone is raised, as sacred to his memory and his virtues. In memory of the men, women, and children who are interred in unmarked graves in this old town burying ground. Sandwich Historical Commission, 2015. Well, I found some really interesting stones here, guys, that go back to the 1600s. Thomas Burgess, born in England, settled in 1637. In that part of Sandwich, now called Sagamore. Died, which is spelled with a Y, died February 13th, 1685, aged 82 years. This stone erected in 1917 by Burgess descendants from Broken Original. And next to him is his wife, Dorothy, widow of Thomas Burgess, died February 27th, 1687, age not found at the time this stone was erected in 1917 from Broken Original by her descendants. So there you have it, folks. Those are the first time I found stones that are from the 1600s, I believe, since I've been here on the Cape. Of course, they're reproductions, as many of these are, if not all of them, that we've seen from the 1700s. The really old ones generally are either missing or so destroyed that you can't even read them. This stone has been all busted up. It looks like someone put it back together. Here lies the body of Mary, can't read the last name, wife of Nathaniel or Nathan, again can't read the last name, died December 18th, 1733, it looks like. In the 38th year of her life or 88th? Can't quite tell. Josephine Nye, born August 17, 1740, died May 7, 1796, having adorned the offices of Selectman, Representative, Justice of the Peace and Quorum. Here we see headstones for Isabella and Frederick Freeman. Must have been a pretty important couple, or at least very rich. Frederick Freeman, December 1799 to September 12, 1883. God's finger touched him and he slept. In memory of Stephen, son of Samuel Patience Fessenden, who died July 18th, 1795, in the 19th year of his age. Deborah, wife of Thomas Nye, born September 19th, 1794, died December 28th, 1861. All right, guys. Well, we actually found some stones from the 1600s, albeit reproduction ones. But of course, as people have mentioned on my channel before in the comments, all of these stones that we do find from the 1700s are reproductions also. If they were to be that old, they would be just so destroyed you wouldn't be able to read them. But really interesting anyway. This is a really, really beautiful cemetery. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you've enjoyed. If so, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Once again, thanks for watching.